Okay, so this is the basics of how we think a central bank should manage their monetary policy, um, which means just controlling the money supply. So that's like how much, like I said, how much money is there out there? Ultimately, the central bank controls this. And so when we have deflation, what's happening there is prices are going down. So that actually means the value of money is higher because you could buy more stuff. With inflation, that's when prices are going up. Your money's worth less because you could buy less stuff. So, and both extremes here. If this is going down by a lot or inflation prices are going up by a lot, both are bad for your economy. Now, if you are having deflation where the prices are going down, what you can do is print more money. You can add more money to the money supply. That'll bring prices back up. With inflation, you could do the reverse. You could contract the money supply. You could take money out of circulation, thereby making the money worth more and bringing those prices back down. So this is the job of the Fed, and this is what's called monetary policy. You can just manage the money supply. But let's take a step back and just think, like, hold on, why does the Fed in the US, the Federal Reserve, why do they get to control how much money there is? Before we can answer that, though, we got to ask, well, what is money? All right, which is a bit of a stoner question, but let's just actually think about it. Great example is this Isle of Yap, where they got these, this is what their money looks like, these big, big stone coins, all right? The way it works in Yap, or the way it worked in Yap, is you had to roll these stone coins every time you went to buy something. You had to roll the stone coin up the hill, and so to go buy something. The islanders, they got tired of this, so they said, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to keep these stones here. We're just going to write down who owns it. All right. As the story goes, they actually had to import the money, and so there's a ship coming in with a bunch of money. Ship sinks. Sailors wash up on the shore. They go to the islanders and say, hey, sorry, our ship sank. We lost all your money at the bottom of the ocean. The islanders say, no problem. We know who that money was intended for. We'll just write down that it's at the bottom of the ocean. We can still use it. We just know it's at the bottom of the ocean. What's the difference between the bottom of the ocean and the top of a hill? We know it's there. We'll just write down who owns it. When that person wants to buy something, they'll say, hey, guess what? Now you own the stone at the bottom of the ocean. No big deal. Now, you're probably sitting there like, whoa, these people are crazy. What's going on? They're counting money in the bottom of the ocean. If you think about it, though, this is exactly how we do money as well. When I go and buy, I got something I bought over here. When I go and buy just this delicious kombucha, what's happening is I'm telling Whole Foods, I'm saying, hey, I got a bunch of ones and zeros in a bank account somewhere that represent money. Guess what? Now you own those ones and zeros. And they said, sure, here's your kombucha. And so this is just to illustrate the point that all of this is a bit of fiction. That essentially money is fiction. All of it all just runs on belief. We all just believe the money has value. We believe the stones there in the bottom of the ocean, or we believe that those ones and zeros represent money and that money has value. Even though technically a dollar bill has no, I mean, if you're trying to use a dollar bill, you can make some origami out of it, but like it has no intrinsic value. But it all just works because we all believe it does. It has value, and then it works great. And this is called fiat money. So this money that just runs on faith, where there's nothing backing it, doesn't stand for anything, it has no intrinsic value. Well, that's the way our money works. And if our money works like that, then the central bank in the US, that's called the Federal Reserve, can just create the money out of thin air. They can, well, the way they actually do it is they just push a button on the computer and boom, billions of dollars get created. And the only way that works is because it runs on faith. We just believe it has value, and therefore we've granted this massive power to our central bank. And every country is like this. The central bank controls how much money there is, and they can just boom, create it out of thin air because it runs on essentially belief. Okay, there we go. That's how it works right here. This is a detailed diagram about how money works. Okay, back up to the Great Depression. Now, in the Great Depression, this is not how it worked. Because imagine like if you're trying to come up with the system out of scratch. Imagine if you're going to, some village, some peasant village in a medieval village in like 1000 or 1200 and say, here, hey guys, here's how we're going to do money. We're going to put one group over here. We're going to call them central bankers. They're going to be in charge of the money. They get to just, write it down how much there is. And it's not necessarily worth anything intrinsically, but we're just all just going to believe that it's worth something, and so therefore it is worth something. How does this plan sound? You would be burned as a witch. Maybe we should burn the central bankers as witches in the present. No, I'm just kidding. All right, don't take this out of context and post this somewhere and get me fired. All right. So the way it worked way back in the day, how we got to this system of fiat money is initially we were using precious metal. Because look, if you didn't believe that this was worth something, well, it is actually worth something. It's a precious metal. It's gold, it's bronze, it's copper, whatever it is, okay? That's what we started with. So we start with precious metal. We start using that as money. This is like the Spanish doubloons and all that. Then we say, this money, this precious metal is real heavy. It's kind of real annoying to lug this around. We got these, we got to put it on a ship, these treasure chests. It's just really annoying. How about this? How about we use paper, which is much lighter and it's easy to work with. Let's use paper. But the way it'll work is the central bank, the central government, will keep the gold. And then anytime I want, I can just go take my paper and turn it in for gold. So we're still using gold, but now the paper just stands for gold. And whoever's in charge, usually the government, of the money has to have enough gold to cover the paper in circulation. And this is called the gold standard. All right. And basically the money stands for gold. There's a direct relationship between the amount of gold that the central bank has and the money. You can't just print more of it because you don't have the gold. If you get more gold, yeah, then you can print more of it. But you need the gold. So this is the gold standard. And this is where we were in the 1930s. We're still on the gold standard. We had not moved to what we have now, which is fiat currency, nothing backing it. All right. We'll get into the details of the gold standard next whatever portion.